Creating the illusion of life with animation starts with the foundations. We learn the principles of animation, usually with a bouncing ball, and then characters. But wait, how do we go from animating an egg to a penguin? Let's back things up a little. I like to think of character animation as being a fusion of three key elements: foundations, mechanics, and performance. Each of these builds upon the last, and all are required to create a truly entertaining final result. Hello, if you're new here, my name is John Knowles, and over the past few weeks I've released a full character animation foundations course here on YouTube called Into Motion. By completing the course, you'll learn everything you need to know to start animating simple characters like this toadstool. But it's still a huge leap to go from animating this to a penguin. This is where body mechanics comes in. Whilst animation body mechanics is often simplified to being just about walk and run cycles, there's actually a lot more to it. Really, it's about understanding how the various parts of the body work together and how they interact with the various forces acting upon them. Once you have a solid understanding of body mechanics, you'll be able to convincingly move characters around in any way that you can imagine. It's at this point that you'll be able to unlock the final part of the character animation puzzle by studying performance. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, how do you go about studying body mechanics? Over 20 years ago now, when I was first learning animation, I chose to go to university thinking it would be the best way to master the craft. Sadly, that turned out not to be the case. My instructors were not professional animators, and my sole body mechanics lesson consisted of a handout that had been printed from a recently released animation book. As it happened, I recognised this instantly, since I already owned the book. It was the now famous Animator's Survival Kit by Richard Williams, and this is the first resource that I'd recommend to anyone wanting to learn about body mechanics. Through this book, Richard Williams became my animation teacher. The book covers the mechanics of walking in an insane amount of detail, whilst also covering all of the other essentials of animation body mechanics. I have a full video on my channel dedicated to the Animator's Survival Kit, but it's safe to say that without it, there's no way I would have learnt enough to begin working as a professional animator. The one thing that I would say is that since the book is based upon hand-drawn animation, there is a certain amount of translation which is required to apply things within 3D. This is where I did initially struggle, and it took a long time to figure out the correct approach to take. Truth be told, when I was first hired as an animator, I still struggled with body mechanics. Many of the things that I now know were learnt over the years from other animators or through endless trial and error. Whilst many things have changed since I first learnt animation, as an animation director, I constantly found junior animators struggling with body mechanics. Regardless of where they'd studied, they were never taught many of the techniques which are required by professional animators. That's why I'm really excited to be able to share my brand new body mechanics course, Into Action. I've created a 12-week program designed to teach you everything required to create animation body mechanics to a professional standard, with a certain amount of performance thrown in. This course will not just teach you the basics of walk and run cycles, but instead it will show you how to take a character, this little rock hopper penguin, and move them around in a truly believable and entertaining way, based upon a range of professional techniques which I've learnt the hard way through many years of animation. If this sounds interesting and you're ready to take the next step on your animation journey, you can learn more about the course using the link in the description. Now, since I know that this course will not be for everyone, I do want to say that it's still absolutely possible to learn body mechanics with the assistance of Richard Williams' fantastic book. This is obviously the route that I took, and it simply requires a lot of time and dedicated practice. If you are going to choose this path, then there are a couple of things that you're going to need. First of all, you'll obviously need the book. I've a link to purchase the book in the description, but please be aware that there are now a couple of different versions available. Since I bought the book, a set of shorter versions have been released, which each include chapters from the original. I've not personally seen these books, so I'd recommend getting the full expanded edition of the Survival Kit if at all possible. The other thing that you'll need to practice body mechanics are animation rigs. Fortunately, the Blender Studio have you covered there. They have a simple mannequin, which is good for practicing body mechanics, although the rig controls are quite basic. Then beyond that, they offer a selection of freely available characters. Just be aware that some of the rigs are limited to certain versions of Blender. I'll share links to access the various rigs down in the description. If you've completed my Into Motion course, you now have everything that you need to continue practicing the animation foundations by yourself. and you also have a solid grounding to build on for the rest of your animation journey. Finally, if you're interested in my Into Action course, just be aware that enrolment is only open for a very limited time, so you may want to check it out soon. Whichever path you take to learn body mechanics, just remember that learning animation is a lifelong pursuit. It takes time, and mastery will only come through constant practice. Have fun, and I'll see you again soon.